The Arizona sun burned high overhead as I stepped off the plane, my duffel bag slung over my shoulder, boots still dusted with foreign sand. I was home after a year-long deployment, expecting to see my ranch, the place my grandfather built, where my father taught me to ride horses, where I'd carved out a life. Instead, I found nothing but a chain-link fence and a sign, "Private property. Trespassers will be prosecuted." My heart stopped. My 50-acre ranch in Tucson was gone, bulldozed, sold, erased by a homeowners association I'd never joined. They thought they could steal from a soldier. They were wrong. My name is Thomas Harlan, a 52-year-old Army Staff Sergeant, born and raised in the dusty heart of Tucson. My ranch wasn't just land. It was my legacy passed from my grandfather to my father, then to me. A weathered cabin, a creaky barn, and open fields where I trained horses and taught local kids to camp. Before my last tour, I'd left everything in order, entrusting my neighbor, Frank Larson, a retired Marine, to watch over it. He fed the horses, fixed the fences, and kept the place alive. Or so I thought. While I was overseas, a new HOA board, led by Margaret Stiles, a real estate shark from California, decided my ranch fell under their control. They claimed it was abandoned, citing peeling barn paint and overgrown weeds. Frank tried to stop them, even filing complaints, but they ignored him. They posted fake notices, forged my signature, and filed sham documents with the county, claiming my land for their Desert Vista Estates project. By the time I returned, my cabin was rubble, my barn was gone, and a developer had flattened my land for condos. I stood there, staring at the empty field where my porch once stood, my blood boiling. Margaret Stiles didn't know who she'd crossed. I wasn't just a soldier. I was a man with nothing left to lose. Frank met me at his trailer that evening, handing me a file thick with evidence. Photos of fake notices, screenshots of county records, and a video from a whistleblower construction foreman named Javier Torres. In the footage, Margaret walked my flattened land, smirking, saying, "Once we're done, no one will remember who lived here. Probably some drifter vet." My fists clenched. She'd call me a nobody. She'd learn. The next morning, things got worse. Margaret filed a restraining order, claiming I'd threatened her HOA with violence before I'd even set foot in town. Sheriff's deputies showed up at Frank's trailer, cuffs ready. "Thomas Harlan," the older deputy asked, "you're wanted for questioning." I hadn't spoken to Margaret, but she'd used my military record to paint me as unstable. Frank slipped me a folder as they led me away. "Record everything," he whispered. "We'll fight this." At the station, Detective Laura Bennett tried to rattle me. "HOA says you were screaming at their fence 2 days ago," she said, showing grainy footage of a man who vaguely looked like me. "I was in Kuwait," I replied, handing over my military papers. Her eyebrows rose. "Someone's playing dirty," she muttered. I told her everything: Margaret's forged deeds, the bulldozed cabin, Javier's video. She let me go but warned, "Get proof, or they'll bury you." Back at Frank's, we called Daniel Pierce, a former JAG attorney who fought for veterans. His office was small, cluttered with legal books, but his eyes were sharp. "They messed up," he said, reviewing our evidence. He found gold. The forged deed misspelled my name, Thomas Harlan, with a D. Sloppy. Daniel filed an injunction to halt construction and dug into Margaret's real estate license. Turns out, she'd bribed a county clerk, an old friend, to fast-track her paperwork. But Margaret fought back. She hired armed security to block me from my land. When I tried to visit, a guard in sunglasses barked, "This is Desert Vista's property. You're banned." I snapped photos and left, my anger simmering. Then, tragedy struck. Frank's trailer burned down one night while he was out with his service dog, Rusty. The fire marshal called it suspicious. Margaret was sending a message. It only made me fight harder. Daniel uncovered more. An email from Margaret to the developer, Richard Holt, saying, "The guy's overseas. He won't be back soon. Get the bulldozers in." It was a smoking gun. We had a court date in 3 weeks. I spent that time rallying support. Frank and I posted Javier's video online, and I recorded my own. "My name is Thomas Harlan. I served this country for 20 years. While I was gone, an HOA stole my home." The video exploded 500,000 views overnight. Veterans groups shared it. Reporters called. I became a symbol of resistance. Margaret held a press conference, all polished smiles. We followed legal procedures, she lied. Mr. Harlan's claims are unfortunate. But we had her email, Javier's video, and a new witness, Sarah Mitchell, a former county clerk intern. She'd seen Margaret's $5,000 Venmo payment to the clerk, labeled consulting fee. The evidence was piling up. Then, a shock. The original judge recused herself, replaced by Judge William Carter, rumored to favor developers. Margaret offered a settlement cash to walk away. It wasn't even half my land's value. She thinks you're tired, Daniel said. I wasn't. I was furious. The courtroom was packed veterans, farmers, reporters. Daniel presented my deployment records, proving I was overseas when the HOA claimed I'd abandoned my land. Frank testified about the fake notices and intimidation. Javier's video played, Margaret's voice echoing. No one will remember who lived here. The crowd gasped. Sarah revealed the bribe. Judge Carter recessed to review the evidence. Outside, veterans shook my hand. You're fighting for us all, one said. When court resumed, Carter's face was grim. This suggests criminal misconduct, he said. I'm restoring ownership to Mr. Harlan and halting construction. Cheers erupted. But Margaret had one last move. Her HOA filed for bankruptcy, trying to shield the sale in federal court. I fought back harder. We shared every document online. Justice for Thomas trended. Margaret missed her next hearing, fleeing the state. Then, a bombshell, Ellen Brooks, Richard Holt's former assistant, testified. She brought emails, recordings, and a ledger showing a $20,000 bribe to the clerk. Margaret and Richard had targeted veterans and the elderly for years. The case wasn't just mine, Anna Maria, it was a federal investigation. Cheryl was caught in New Mexico, naming names. Richard was arrested. Subpoenas hit other HOAs. I testified in D.C., sparking the Deployed Property Protection Act. Back home, veterans rebuilt my ranch, new cabin, barn, fences, even a porch swing like my father's. The court awarded me $1.7 million in damages. Margaret got 12 years in prison, Richard, 8. The HOA was dissolved. But one night, a black car with fake plates lingered outside my ranch. A letter arrived. This isn't the end. I wasn't scared. I'd faced worse. I used the restitution to fund a legal clinic for veterans, bought Frank a new trailer, and gave my tiny home to another soldier. My ranch stood again, stronger than ever. They tried to erase me, but I stood for my land, my father's memory, and everyone they'd silenced. Never mess with a soldier. What do you think about this story of injustice and violence? Have you faced similar battles? Share your thoughts below. Should we fight back with force or law? Stand up, speak out, and let's make sure no one's home is stolen again.